Hello, friends. John Willard here, and I'd like to ask if you all would be so kind to remember to subscribe to our wonderful channel, CNA-TV. The subscribe button is always down below. Stories from the heart is what works best for me. Family, friends, and compassion for all the world to see. A flower is what I desired for this wonderful day. But since it came from the heart, I got a whole bouquet. I prefer the kinder, gentler side. So in these Ozarks is where my heart and soul reside.
You're watching From the Heart with John Willard.
Hi friends, John Willard here, the gentleman poet, storyteller, and NAHCA Contributor, back for another show and more bone-chilling truth. My open thought: some people, no matter how old they get, never lose their beauty. They merely move it from their faces into their hearts. Friends, you've heard me say George Washington Carver said, "Be tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, because in your life you will have been both of these." So I say to you, enlarge my heart with a story and change me by the characters I meet there. As sunrise breaks into daylight, I smile. I'm glad to have had these moments. I'm thankful for the peace of this morning. Trips down memory lane. It's where we've laid up a rich store of friends and good times remembered. My hope is that by sharing with you, my fellow traveler, I will have enriched your journey. I'm glad to say the pups and I were up at 4 a.m. this morning. After food for the pups, oatmeal and coffee for me, we took in the sights and sounds of the Ozarks. Friends, when I hear some say that little things just don't matter, I think of an old man living along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. Each day, when the tide went out, he would make his way along the beach for miles. Another man who lived not far away would occasionally watch as he vanished into the distance, and later noticed that he had returned. The neighbor also noticed that, as he walked, the old man would often stoop down to lift something from the sand, and then he'd toss it away into the water. One day, when the old man went down to the beach, this neighbor followed to satisfy his curiosity. And, sure enough, as he watched, the old man bent down and gently lifted something from the sand, and he threw it into the ocean. By the time the old man made his next stop, the neighbor had come near enough to see that he was picking up a starfish, which had been stranded by the retreating tide and would, of course, die of dehydration before the tide returned. as the old man turned to return it to the ocean. The neighbor called out with a degree of mockery in his voice, "Hey, old-timer, what are you doing? This beach goes on for hundreds of miles, and thousands of starfish get washed up every day. Surely you don't think that throwing a few back is going to matter." The old man listened and paused for a moment. Then he held the starfish in his hand out toward his neighbor. "It matters to this one." I think about do-overs also. If I lived my life over again, I would relax. I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have been this trip. I know of very few things I would take seriously. I would swim more rivers, watch more sunsets. I would do more watching and looking. I would have more actual troubles and fewer imaginary ones. You see, I am one of those people who live sensibly and sanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments. And if I had it to do over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead each day. If I had it to do all over again, I would have taken my mother to see Mackinac Island before it was too late. And I'd travel lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, I would count stars, go to more zoos and parades, and appreciate family. I would accept imperfections and laugh often, and I would go to their favorite restaurant. I would protect them and build memories. I would tell friends and family how proud I am of them. Friends, when I think these thoughts, I think of my grandmother Nellie and having tea with her. She lived in a rented tar paper shack, but it was so clean, as the saying goes, that you could eat off the floor, and it was. So I'll share this poem, Tea at Grandmother's. When I was young, I'd visit folks who lived on neighboring streets. But Grandma always asked me in for tea and pastry treats. She made me feel special with a table set just so, while she would talk of baking and how long to raise the dough. Politely, I would listen, although thoughts would often stray. Each time I left, I gave my word I'd come another day. Before I went to high school, she asked that I stop by. She opened up her old worn book while trying not to cry. Then, as she paged through many years, in pen I saw my name, for she had written in that book the days and times I came. You won't learn this in textbooks, she softly said to me, how you can lift another soul with just a cup of tea. Many things will catch your eye, but only a few will catch your heart. Pursue those. My final thought, we can learn these things from our dog. To listen without judgment, to love unconditionally, to guard faithfully the interest of those who care for you, and to be faithful unto death. Friends, you can reach me at John Willard 47 on Twitter. And if you'd do me a favor and you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And thanks again. This is John Willard from the farm.